Trump just made a move so reckless, so badly miscalculated, that within minutes of his social media post going live, China, Iran, Europe, and America's own allies were all firing back at once. And here's the part nobody's talking about. The thing Trump did to solve the problem just made the problem twice as bad. Stay with me, because this gets wild. Setup 021 Sakshot. So here's what you need to understand first. The Strait of Hormuz, that narrow strip of water connecting the Persian Gulf to the rest of the world, is one of the most critical choke points on the entire planet. Nearly 20% of the world's oil passes through it. When that strait gets blocked, oil prices spike. When oil prices spike, you pay more for everything. Trump's stated goal was to open the Strait of Hormuz. His solution? Block the entire Persian Gulf. Let that sink in for a second. His plan to open the strait was to close more of it. Escalation 11-1230. Now here's where it gets serious. Trump posted on social media, not in a press briefing, not through official diplomatic channels, on social media, announcing a full naval blockade of the Persian Gulf, targeting Iranian ports specifically. CENTCOM clarified the blockade only applies to Iranian ports. But here's the problem, and anyone who knows maritime law will tell you this. Tankers in the Persian Gulf make multiple stops. Pinpointing exactly which port a tanker just left is genuinely complicated. This is not a clean surgical operation. This is chaos dressed up as strategy. And Iran's response came immediately. Iran's military spokesperson didn't blink. The message was direct. Security in the ports of the Persian Gulf and the Sea of Oman will either be for everyone or for no one. Translation? You threaten our ports, we threaten every port in that region. Saudi Arabia, UAE, Kuwait, everyone. Then Iran went further. They warned that if Iranian ports are targeted, they will implement, and this is a direct quote from their statement, a permanent mechanism to control the Strait of Hormuz. Permanently, not as a temporary wartime measure, permanently. And they called Trump's blockade exactly what international law experts would call it: illegal. Piracy in international waters. The China problem, 230 to 330. But wait, because now we have to talk about China. China's defense minister, Admiral Dong Jun, put out a statement that should have made every person in the White House stop and think very carefully. China said they have active trade and energy agreements with Iran. Their ships move through the Strait of Hormuz regularly. They will continue to honor those agreements, and they expect, their words, no one to meddle in their affairs. Read between the lines there. China is saying, our ships are going through. What are you going to do about it? And that's the question Trump has no good answer to. Option A, you let Chinese ships through. Your blockade is a joke. Iran wins the narrative war instantly. Option B, you fire on or intercept a Chinese military or commercial vessel. That's not a regional conflict anymore. That's something else entirely. This is the corner Trump has painted himself into with a social media post. The failed negotiations. 335. Now let's back up, because to understand why we got here, you have to understand what happened in the negotiations and why they collapsed. The talks in Islamabad, Trump sent J.D. Vance, Steve Witkoff, and Jared Kushner. Not a single nuclear policy expert in the room. Not a single person fluent in Farsi or deeply versed in Iranian diplomatic culture. These are the people sent to negotiate one of the most technically complex nuclear deals in modern history. Iran came to the table with a 10-point framework. Trump himself publicly announced he was in agreement with it. That was the foundation. That was the deal on the table. Then the goalposts moved. Suddenly, the new American demands included Iran surrendering control of the Strait of Hormuz, dismantling its entire missile program, and eliminating all of its uranium. Demands that went far beyond anything previously agreed upon. Iran walked, and then, and this part is almost hard to believe, during the period when these sensitive diplomatic talks were falling apart, Trump's team was publishing op-eds and social media posts threatening to kill the Iranian negotiators. Germany's new Chancellor Friedrich Merz put it plainly. He said he was not surprised the talks collapsed. From the beginning, he said, it did not appear the American side was truly prepared. That's a NATO ally publicly saying America came to this negotiation unprepared and blew it up themselves. Trump's social media spiral, $5.06. And while all of this was unraveling, the blockade announcement, China's rebuke, Iran's threats against regional ports, allies going public with their frustration, what was the commander-in-chief doing? He was at his Doral golf course. He was on camera chatting with guests, complimenting their appearances, asking people if they wanted photos. And late that same evening, he was posting relentlessly on social media, starting around 10 p.m., a photo of himself depicted as Jesus, followed by Trump Tower on the moon, random news clips, attacks on Joe Biden, articles about ballrooms, post after post after post, while a potential military standoff with China and Iran was developing in real time. Meanwhile, Iran's parliament speaker, who holds a PhD in engineering, posted a mathematical formula breaking down how Trump's double blockade strategy mathematically doubles the damage to global oil supply. He ended it with, "Enjoy current gas prices. Soon you'll be nostalgic for $4 to $5 a gallon." The Netanyahu detail, 6 to 6:45. There's one more piece of this story you need to hear. During a speech to the Israeli people, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu revealed something remarkable. He said that J.D. Vance was reporting directly to him, Netanyahu, about the developments in the negotiations, in detail, every day. Netanyahu said the breakdown came from the American side, that Iran's violation of the original negotiating agreement, the 10-point plan, is what caused the explosion. But here's the question that nobody in mainstream media seems to be asking loudly enough. Why is a senior American official reporting the details of sensitive diplomatic negotiations to the leader of another country, while those negotiations are still happening? Why is the United States reporting to Netanyahu instead of coordinating with its full coalition of allies? Netanyahu said it publicly. Trump reports to me. That's the direct implication of what he stated on camera to his own people. Pope, Iran, and the global image. 6:45, 7:30. And if you want to understand just how isolated Trump has become on the global stage right now, consider this contrast. Trump spent part of the weekend posting images of himself portrayed as Jesus on social media and publicly attacking the newly elected Pope Leo XIV, calling him a liberal and a leftist. Iran's President Pezeshkian, the leader of the country America is currently at war with, issued a formal statement defending Pope Leo XIV. He condemned the mockery of Jesus as a prophet of peace. He wished the Pope well. Pope Leo XIV, when asked about Trump's attacks, said simply, "I'm not intimidated. I'm going to keep spreading compassion." The optics of that moment are staggering. The Iranian president is defending the Pope. The American president is mocking him. Closing 7:38. So here's where we are right now. The Strait of Hormuz remains largely closed to Western-aligned shipping. Trump has announced a blockade that China has already said it doesn't recognize. Iran has threatened that any attack on their ports means no port in the region is safe. European allies are publicly questioning American competence, and the negotiating framework that could have produced a deal has been completely abandoned. The American people are feeling it. New polling shows Trump's approval among young voters has collapsed across every demographic tract, men, women, 18 to 29, all moving sharply negative since late 2025. This is the situation, and it is moving fast. We'll keep you updated every step of the way. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what comes next, because based on everything we're watching right now, this story is far from over. What was improved? 1. Hook rewritten for instant tension. Opens with a paradox, solving the problem by worsening it, that forces curiosity. 2. Context inserted early. The Strait of Hormuz is explained immediately so any viewer understands the stakes within 60 seconds. 3. Pacing restructured. Each section builds on the last with a clear cause and effect chain instead of jumping between topics. 4. Open loops planted. Stay with me. This gets wild. And that's the question Trump has no good answer to. Keep viewers watching. 5. Emotional triggers layered in, disbelief, frustration, stakes raising, calibrated to drive shares and comments. 6. Redundancy removed. repetitive asides and filler phrases cut to keep energy high throughout. 7. Voiceover-ready formatting, short, punchy paragraphs, natural breath points, no complex sentence structures that trip up a reader. Sonnet 4.6 Claude est une IA et peut faire des erreurs. Veuillez vérifier les arrêts